push, pull. Let me get a nice clean takedown. Cupping the ball in the shoulder, rotating my elbow inwards and then down towards the floor. This is very hard, and now I can use this to get into step, and then we can start to go into follow-up takedowns and so on, yeah? Change our stance, underhook, push, pull. Use the right leg to feed it into the left leg, step left, cut back single. All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Alan goes left leg lead, I go left leg lead. Keep my elbows nice and tight so I'm not open to arm drags and underhooks myself. I'm going to take a down grip, so that's basically where my thumb is on the outside of his wrist and it faces down, rather than a regular grip where it's kind of like an up grip. All right, so we're going down, and then we get our down grip. I change my stance, so I step through with my right leg here and I pierce through with my right elbow, and then I get an underhook here. I'm then going to get wrist control, so I can either go wrist control or I can take like a hook grip on the sleeve. It's really up to you, right? So the details on the underhook, I'm cupping the ball in the shoulder, rotating my elbow inwards and then down towards the floor. And then how I lock this in is basically I put my shoulder to Alan's shoulder and then the side of my head to my hand. So if Alan tries to pull out his hand, this is very hard, and now I can use this to get into step, and then we can start to go into follow-up takedowns and so on, yeah? The reason why we go with a down grip is if I just try like punch an underhook against a good grappler, he's just going to keep his elbows nice and tight and he's not going to give it to me. Whereas if I can get this down grip, I can kind of pull his elbow away from his body, change my stance, pierce my elbow through, we get our underhook, so cup the shoulder, pulling our elbow down towards the mat, shoulder to shoulder, forehead to hand, and I go wrist control or hook grip on the sleeve. So I want you to do the same drill we're doing in the warm-up, just basically getting your partner to step with pushes and pulls, and then looking at the position of their feet where we can go into follow-up takedowns. There's two kind of main hand positions that Alan can take. One is he can take an overhook here, and then this allows me to go into certain types of like trips, inside trips and different types of takedowns. If Alan is lazy with his hand position, he's not taking an overhook and he's just kind of resting on my back, it means that I can get to his back by just using a throw by here, right? So it's really important for the second person that you take an overhook, because if you don't take an overhook, now your opponent can use inside attacks, and then we can do like say outside attacks. So if you go lazy hand position, just by using a simple overhook, all right? So setup was using like say a down grip. A down grip is also good for arm drags. So if I go down grip, I also have the choice of going into arm drags. But we can also use the down grip basically to pierce our elbow through, change our stance, and then get an underhook, all right? So good opponent's going to take an overhook because it's going to make it harder for me to get to his back. If we want a good strong underhook, basically I'm getting rid of the space between my shoulder and Alan's shoulder here, and then my temple goes to his knuckle and my forehead looks in towards his neck here. I get a hook grip, a wrist control, it's really up to you. Hook grip's probably a better option in the gi. I'm going to start with a push, and then Alan starts to push back. So once he pushes back, I'm looking to get weight on this leg. Once weight goes on this leg, I skip the back leg forward, I take this foot out, and then with the underhook I'm going to pull down hard to get the sweep. So again, so I have an underhook, my temple is connected to my knuckle and my forehead's looking in towards his neck. I start with a push, Alan pushes back, I start to pull, I skip the back leg forward, I take the left leg out with my right leg, and then the trick here is to try and pull his head over his hip to get the takedown. Alright, so we go again. So here, push, pull. Let me get a nice clean takedown. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. So when I push and when I get Alan to step forward, just before all of his weight touches the floor, that's where I want to take the foot off the mat, right? So we can obviously use this to go into like a clean foot sweep, or what we can do is if I find that he's keeping weight on this side here and I just can't pull him over, we use this right foot to feed the leg into our left hand, where now we can go into single legs. We'll talk about the finish in a second, right? So again, I push, I pull, and then I scoop the leg up and then I feed it into my left hand here. Alright, so I have the overhook. I'm going to switch to just like a regular seatbelt grip, and then our finish on the single leg is I'm going to step left and then I'm going to cut back right. Bring my head down towards the floor. So the finish on this one, it's more of a cut back single variation rather than like a traditional run the pipe single leg. So if you watch the finish, I step left, I cut back with my right leg, and then I try to bring my head to look over my right shoulder. Here, to sitting down towards the floor. So we'll do the whole lot again. So from the start, change our stance, underhook, push, pull, use the right leg to feed it into the left leg, step left, cut back single. All right, so 3, 2, 1.